think you would have seen that in 2022, 2023, it was the worst years for fundraising for infrastructure investors globally. But what has happened is that actually whatever funds that were raised, 75 to 85% were actually dedicated to clean energy or energy transition. This clearly shows the importance of this agenda on all the investment managers' minds. Separately, I think for utilities and other stakeholders, with oil and gas companies, they continue to invest in renewables or clean energy solutions. Particularly out here in Asia, the opportunities are abundant because take South Asia and Southeast Asia as an example. I think these are the two regions where GDP and energy demand and population growth are still growing. This is on top of the electrification trend that we are seeing globally. So what that means is that there are a lot of opportunities, particularly in the clean energy space, to actually deploy capital as well as to develop new projects. Now, the key challenges are that, particularly in Southeast Asia, the low-hanging fruits have been more or less plucked. What's needed in the next phase of growth is to actually have more solutions related to grid infrastructure, be it augmentation of grid, making the grid smarter, which includes installation of smart meters. So DBS, we actually assisted a client last year in Indonesia to actually win a tender of about 10,000 smart meters to deploy over in Indonesia in partnership with PLN. This sort of ventures will absolutely be more required to kind of undertake the hard part of the transition. I think the other part that people need to think about is energy storage. As you have more and more intermittent power generation, which is by definition solar and wind, you would actually need more storage solutions to complement not just even out the intermittency, but also provide ancillary services for power system. Recently, just on 22nd October, the IEA published the Southeast Asia Outlook 2024. I think in there, under the steps scenario, it is pretty clear that fossil fuels still play a large part in the energy mix for Southeast Asia. This includes oil, includes coal. It is also apparent that IEA stated in the report that $73 billion was actually invested in 2023 in clean energy, but that figure by 2035 needs to more than double, right? And it is also pretty clear that as we approach 2030, the steps scenario is insufficient to get us to 1.5 degrees. So what that means is that I think governments need to work closer together to really try and implement the ASEAN Power Grid, because within the 10 nations in ASEAN, there are countries which are resource rich, like Laos and Cambodia, in terms of renewable energy resource, but there are also countries like Singapore who are resource poor. How do we have a win-win situation whereby such renewable energy resource can actually be shared in a country that can afford to pay slightly higher tariffs than say the host country? So that's one. I think the second is, I think there needs to be actually a lot more investments in transmission and distribution, but not just in augmentation of the grid, but making the grid smarter to actually cater for intermittent power generation, which is by definition solar and wind. And that will include actually implementation of battery energy storage systems as well as smart meters. As an example, last year, DBS, we actually advised 8 clients to undertake a smart meter project in Indonesia for about 10,000 smart meters, which were implemented across Indonesia. I think more of these solutions need actually to be explored and implemented.